How to register a new SuperBets account. SMS Super TV to 30978 and you will receive an SMS with a sign-up link. Click the link you receive, which will direct you to the SuperBets mobile site. Click Login. On the pop-up, click Register Now. Fill in the required details on the form, from your ID number all the way to your contact details. Be sure to choose a strong password that you will remember. After filling in your details, click Submit. In a few minutes, you should receive an OTP if your details were entered correctly. Back onto the SuperBets mobile site, type in your OTP. In a few seconds, you will receive a welcome SMS confirming your new account. A 50 Rand sign-up bonus will reflect in your account within 24 hours of your sign-up. Welcome to our family. SuperBets, bet with the biggest.
Welcome to Mo Sports. Well, my name is Mo, and sitting across the table from me is OB.KNOWS. He knows a lot of things, but the one thing he's passionate about is football, and that's why he's joining us here on Mo Sports to have a conversation around football. I'm saying it like he's a guest. No, he's a permanent fixture. Welcome to it. The channel is 150 on your open view to code at Super TV powered by SuperBets, and you can join us alternatively through Facebook or on YouTube. It's as easy as going on those platforms, searching Super TV, finding our page or our channel, subscribing or hitting the follow button, and then joining us here on Mo Sports every weekday or every weekend day. Let's go to the Mo riddle, because today I hear that it's a very difficult one. So difficult, in fact, that I'm unable to read it for you. So what we want to do is we're going to let you read the Mo riddle for yourself. And if you have the answer, the number is 071 621 4746. Now that's the infamous WhatsApp number. Once you have that number saved on your phone under the name Super TV, you can interact with your favorite presenters, including your Asandas, your Voyos, your Tebs, your OB.KNOWS, your Mo's, and so many more that you can send your messages to and appreciate. And also, you can send a message to your favorite Super Beats DJ. The number is 071 621 4746. And that is the Mo riddle for you. And once you've read it, you can send in your answer. OB.KNOWS, very glad to have you all smiles on a good day like this. Yeah. What is coming up on today's show?
Well, Mo, we can look forward to talking a little bit about how Raja spiced up some bones yesterday. Also, Eric Tinkler returns to his home at Cape Town City. We'll be talking a little bit about that. And also, what has been going on? I mean, Ligue 1, PSG lost the title to Lille. We'll be talking about that when we get to France. But for now, let's kick it off with what's going on in the PSL.
Well, as you know, like I said, this is OB.KNOWS' passion. So when it comes to matters of the heart, we leave that to other people. When it comes to matters of the football, we bring it to OB.KNOWS. OB.KNOWS, it's a very tough time right now in the PSL offices. Not talking about the pitch, not talking about the league, but in the offices itself. Because at this moment in time, we have a winner of the NFD, but we don't have a winner of the NFD.
Do we have a winner?
The question is, whose crown is it anyway?
Do we have a winner, Mo? I don't know.
I saw a picture, and guys, I'm not making this up. There's a picture of basically Skukuno United 2021 champions. They're celebrating in the dressing rooms. On the outside, Royal AM 2021 champions in the dressing rooms. So they're both champions, but as you know, in football, there can only be one. It's like the Miss Universe pageant. Now the question is, we are going to have a Steve Harvey moment now.
Clearly, we're having one right now. I mean, like, if anything, we're looking at the league table. Royal AM is still at the top, right? And they're on there with 1 point ahead of Sekhukhune. And should actually, the PSL decide to give Sekhukhune the 3 points which they solely deserve, then Sekhukhune are obviously the champions. But as it stands right now, apparently the PSL was served with some papers, court papers. We don't know who served the court papers. And I mean, who served them? But if we are to throw our hands in there and put our noses in there as well, we might just say Sekhukhune are the ones who are bringing a court verdict to the PSL, because I mean they are being blatantly cheated out of a possibility of them winning a title. So I do think that if anything, Sekhukhune are the ones who will be going to the courts, and rightfully so.
I think the only person who should cry at this moment and serve court papers is the province of KZN, because ideally, if Kukune stay in second and they go on to face Richards Bay FC OB.KNOWS, then they have a chance to get 2 teams from KZN into the PSL. But if Kukune go up to first and then it's going to be Royal AM versus Richards Bay, then it means that only one KZN team can make it into the PSL coming this promotion period. And it looks like Limpopo teams are doing the opposite. They're just leaving the PSL, but you know what, we're tired of this thing.
Yeah, every season there's a Limpopo team that's leaving. I mean, Polokwane City left the other season. Now Black Leopards just left as well, you know. So the Limpopo team's looking like, you know, they ain't trying to keep up. You know what I mean? Baroka escaped. Like, they were very close, you know, towards the last few games of the season. But luckily, they picked up some form, you know. But so TTM as well, another Limpopo team that is in trouble. Well, now they are, you know, in the promotion playoff. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in the remainder of the games. But I do think that, you know, like Mr. Sandile Zungu has been saying, you know, he's been saying that he wants, you know, football to be fashionable in KZN. And with 2 other teams possibly coming into the PSL, you know, they're trying to make sure that football dominance is in KZN. So,
you know what's key about this conversation is that I remember a friend of mine who's now actually working as a marketing exec. He was telling me that when he was growing up, he had a passion for football. I mean, we're talking about someone who still lives the lifestyle till this day. He still eats the diet, he still takes a jog, he might not play the game anymore, but that's how much time he spends passionately playing football. And he said that when they were growing up, the opportunities for football were very far and few in between because you had to come to Gauteng to come chase a football career. I mean, back in the day, we knew there were Soweto Giants and teams from Tembisa, teams from Davidson. Players, a lot of players. I mean, if you look at the whole era of Junior Kanya and them, there were like 4 or 5 guys from Davidson, Buso Mahlangus, your Jabu Pules, your Junior Kanyas.
Kune has a story about coming onto a train and he needing to come to Soweto, you know,
exactly.
You know, for Kaizer Chiefs.
That's how the South African football is. So for KZN to actually step up, I hope that it's an indication for the rest of the country to step up and say, look, teams in Northwest, teams in the Northern Cape, teams in the Free State. I mean, already Bloem Celtic and Free State Stars have been represented. So, but we need a lot more teams from around the country to come in, like teams like Chippa United from the Eastern Cape as well, showing that football is not just a Soweto or Gauteng thing. It needs to be a national thing because now we cannot even blame the technology anymore. True. We can't even blame the finance because a lot of big power weights are around the country. Let's move on and talk about Cape Town City. Now, when you think of Cape Town City, you think of your V&A waterfront, your boats, your yachts, OB.KNOWS. Let's talk about who is now at the helm of Cape Town City.
Well, they've managed to bring back Eric Tinkler. Eric Tinkler, the same coach which I thought, you know, would have took over the reins at Bafana, but, you know, unfortunately, you know, he left Maritzburg United earlier on this season. I mean, he didn't leave, actually, he was sacked, you know, and he was clubless for quite some time. He tried to throw in, you know, some hints for Safa to actually, hire him, but they didn't. And I'm happy to actually see him returning to a team which has some very good management. I mean, he was the first coach that Cape Town City ever had, and he was the first coach to bring silverware to the club. So I think, you know, in terms of history repeating itself, it might just happen because we're looking at the squad that Cape Town City have. I mean, they are one of the teams after Mamelodi Sundowns. Mamelodi Sundowns have scored, I think, 41 goals. They scored 39 this season. So they are a team that, you know, are prominent going forward. They just need to fix what's going on at the back. And I do think that without Eric Tinkler has experienced over the years as a coach, you know, being able to win a couple of titles at Cape Town City and at SuperSport United, I'm pretty sure he'll have an idea of how he can be able to, you know, rebuild a defense for Cape Town City. Because remember, they don't have a goalkeeper anymore because Peter Liebenberg will be leaving, going back to Netherlands at the end of the season. So there are some goalkeepers that they can actually look at, you know, some South African goalkeepers they can look at. Brendan Peterson, who was the goalkeeper for Bidvest last season before they were sold, he's clubless right now. So I do think that, you know, some of these young goalkeepers, especially him, he's from Durban actually, but I do think that, you know, being at a coastal club, it might also, you know, bring back, it might make him feel a little bit more like home, you know. So I do expect Eric Tinkler to bring some changes, but he really needs to work on that defense at Cape Town City.
All right, let's move on and go talk about what's happening in the CAF Confederations Cup. Let's go find out. Disappointment. I mean, if the order of the day was disappointment, you would have gotten bones with a little bit of Raja on them. Raja Casablanca showing why they've been the dominant force in the Confederations Cup. I mean, me and OB.KNOWS were having the chat off air, and OB.KNOWS was like, this is a team that only conceded no goals in the group stages. They only conceded 1 goal this whole CAF season. They also sit in top of their domestic league, above Wydad Casablanca. So OB.KNOWS, this is a team that means business, but not only that, they managed to put 4 past Orlando Pirates.
They're a team that means business, and I did say at the beginning of this campaign that they're a team that don't belong in CAF Confed football. You know, they're a team that usually priding themselves in being in the Champions League. So the performance that they gave yesterday was a pure Northern African football performance. I mean, quick on the ball, quick to pounce on mistakes, especially at the back. Orlando Pirates were very careless at the back there. And some very poor defending overall. I do think I expected a little bit more from Tyson to be able to marshal a defense. I mean, he didn't do much of that, and I've been saying that for a captain of the club, he should be the one who should be able to be a lot more vocal than all the other players on the field. And being at the back and being a centre back, it gives you much more of the ability to be able to oversee the whole game and to make the calls and tell people when they're in the wrong positions. But I saw one of the goals, I think it was the second goal. Tyson was out to mark, right? And Wade Juster was right behind him. And once the player passed, instead of Wade Juster going towards his right back position to go and close down the ball, Tyson had to go from that point where he was marking to go to the right back position where there was no one covering Tyson anymore, because Tyson made that centre back position vacant to go and cover where Wade Juster is supposed to be. So those type of things, this easy communication could have happened between the two players there, but didn't. And that's why I think Orlando Pirates were punished so much. There was not a lot of communication in the back line.
Well, the aggregate score was 5-1, but the only way for us to find out more about these games and what's happening in the semi-finals is to SMS Super TV to 30978. And once we've done so, we have access to the Super Bets website. Let me show you how it looks like. I hope you're ready, because it's a very interesting place to go to. I mean, if you've never been there before, well, I wonder, where have you been? I mean, you've been watching Super TV, you've been watching Mo Sports, and we get all our stats, our numbers from the Super Stats website. Let me show you how it looks like. It looks like this. So we know we are ready, we are there. Let's navigate to the match info. So there at the top, we go to match info. OB.KNOWS already wants to log in, he wants to make his bets. Come down, OB.KNOWS. Let's go to statistics. Right, let's make that full screen page. Beautiful. Let's go to soccer. Now we're looking for international clubs because we're looking at continental competition. And then we're going to scroll past UEFA, past the Copa Libertadores and South America, and then we're going to look here in the Confederations Cup. So the quarterfinals ended as follows. OB.KNOWS, I think people know at this point in time what happened, but we'll take them through it. As we can see, Pyramids going through 5-2, and then between Sfaxveen and Kebile, is it Kabala OB.KNOWS?
Kabila, yeah.
Kabila, and then you can see they won 2-1, and then Pirates versus Raja. Basically, Pirates lost 5-1 to Raja, while Cotton Sports lost a whole. Was that on penalty? That has to be on penalty because the 2-2 thing. Or was it away goals? They lost on away goals. So Cotton Sports, I think, went through on away goals. OB.KNOWS. So let's go OB.KNOWS to the fixtures and see how the semis are going to be looking in this competition. So we scroll down, as you can see, Cotton Sports will be taking Kebile, and then Pyramids is going to be taking on Raja Casablanca. Now, a lot of fans of Orlando Pirates would have loved to see their name in the semi-finals, but they can't see themselves right now because they have been knocked out. But OB.KNOWS, interesting times, because let's go to the Champions League and go see what's happening there. So we go back to international clubs, and then we go look at what's happening in the African game. So Champions League in Africa, and then let's go to fixtures. So this is how it's looking at this moment in time. Esperance Tunis will be facing Pitso Misimane's Al Ahly, and OB.KNOWS was complaining about the next fixture because we've seen this one in the group stages already. And one round of fixtures later, it's back again. Wydad versus Kaizer Chiefs. And at this moment in time, I wanted to ask OB.KNOWS a question. So OB.KNOWS, do you think that, in fact, not do you think that, why did Casablanca have an edge on Kaizer Chiefs? Because they've already beaten them. Yeah. And they've played a weaker side that Kaizer Chiefs beat, but they've already beaten Kaizer Chiefs.
I think Wydad have this one in the bag. I mean, not all due respect to Kaizer Chiefs. I think, watching Wydad play against the other teams they're playing against, I mean, the last 8 that they played, I mean, the way they play their football, I mean, like I said, like this past weekend, I saw a masterclass of Northern African football, and I've seen why I feel they dominate the game so much. I mean, they play the ball on the ground and they move it very quickly as well. They don't give you a lot of time on the ball, and I think Kaizer Chiefs are a team that are very slow. And one thing that Kevin Hunt said is that one thing that suits them the most in terms of playing in CAF is that, some teams are slow. And I think it worked against Simba. I mean, Simba were a very slow team. They managed to, Kaizer Chiefs managed to outrun them, especially at the FNB Stadium, bring in crosses. But when they're playing against a team such as Wydad, I mean, Wydad have some very huge defenders and they're very quick on the ball as well. So I don't really see it happening for Kaizer Chiefs. I mean, when they played away, I think they lost 3-0 if I'm not mistaken. And when they came this side, they lost 1-0 to Kaizer Chiefs. So I do think that Kaizer Chiefs are in trouble with this fixture.
All right, so moving on to the biggest news of the weekend. I mean, if you watch the CAF matches, whether it be through stream or through TV, you know that the Al Ahly bus was I don't know how to put it, OB.KNOWS, but a lot of fans came out and they had to just put them off their game. They had placards, they were trying to stop the bus. But Mamelodi Sundowns has come out, OB.KNOWS, or did their fans come out to apologize? We need to.
Well, it was a statement from Mamelodi Sundowns that was taken out, and I think a lot of people are hurt about the statement. They butthurt because this statement, as much as it doesn't say anything about, it says everything to Al Ahly, but doesn't say anything about Pitso Mosimane. And this is part of the statement. It says, Mamelodi Sundowns observed the behavior and conduct from some of its supporters before its match with Al Ahly, which is unacceptable and improper and does not reflect the integrity, respect, compassion, and other values that we uphold. And that is what Mamelodi Sundowns said on their statement, right? But looking at what the fans were saying, the fans weren't talking about Al Ahly, the fans were talking about Pitso, to be exact, they were talking about Pitso. Yeah. And also what Pitso had said in the briefing, in the press briefing, is he said that he knows who's behind it, Yeah. So my question was, people obviously didn't see it as an attack. Yeah, they didn't see it. They didn't see this apology as a sincere one. They really think that Sundowns are still, having something against Pitso Mosimane, and they have every right to say so, because this apology that was sent, not even once was Pitso Mosimane mentioned in the entire apology. So I don't know if there's something brewing between Mamelodi Sundowns and Pitso, because Pitso did say in that press conference that ever since he's been in Egypt, he's never been at peace. There's emails that are coming through, and there's only one person who can allow those emails to come through from the head office. So I think there is something that needs to be hashed out between Pitso and Mamelodi Sundowns.
So now it paints a very bitter picture of South African football, that when you are successful and you get onto bigger platforms and you have better teams, people always look down on you and they always complain that, why are you not here? Is that crab mentality that we're always being accused of in our townships? And we just hope that this goes to bed, because the text won't Pitso. So apologize to Pitso, don't apologize to Al Ahly. Because when people stop that bus, when people are holding placards, they were not sweating at the club, they were sweating at Pitso. And Pitso did say that I was very disappointed for people to come out and maliciously attack me personally. But let's take a break, and when we come back, the conversation has to continue with our journey to European football.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
How to register a new SuperBets account. SMS Super TV to 30978 and you will receive an SMS with a sign-up link. Click the link you receive, which will direct you to the SuperBets mobile site. Click Login. On the pop-up, click Register Now. Fill in the required details on the form, from your ID number all the way to your contact details. Be sure to choose a strong password that you will remember. After filling in your details, click Submit. In a few minutes, you should receive an OTP if your details were entered correctly. Back onto the SuperBets mobile site, type in your OTP. In a few seconds, you will receive a welcome SMS confirming your new account. A 50 Rand sign-up bonus will reflect in your account within 24 hours of your sign-up. Welcome to our family. SuperBets, bet with the biggest.
Winners know when to pull out. Just SMS Super TV to 30978 and practice your pull-out game.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Sports. Now, if you're just joining us, you missed out on all the local action and all the local news that we had to deliver to you. Eric Tinkler is back at Cape Town City, and we also talked about the apology that Mamelodi Sundowns did put out to Al Ahly. Welcome to the show. My name is Mo. This is OB.KNOWS, and you're tuned into channel 150 on your Open View decoder. Now, if you have alternative means, meaning that you have a cell phone, a laptop, or a tablet, you can always check us on Facebook or on YouTube. It's as easy as searching for Super TV on those platforms and then streaming us live via those platforms. Now, let me give you the Mo riddle before we continue with our journey into European football. Now, you can read the riddle for yourself, and I'll give you the number where you can submit your answer. The number is 071 621 4746. OB.KNOWS, did you get excited when we get to France and PSG are not the champions?
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, I have nothing to complain about. I'm the happiest pundit in the world, because I've been saying Burak Yilmaz, and Burak Yilmaz once again pulling up, scoring that winning goal. Although it was scored, before halftime, they were 2-0 up. I mean, I think I said Lille are a team that they know what the job is, and I'm very happy that they came out in the first half and did the job in the first half. I mean, they got both the goals. First goal came in the 10th minute, and the second one coming in the halftime stoppage time. So I do think that Lille really did want it, and they really do deserve to be the champions of league. So now the task will obviously be, to be able to defend the trophy. And I think that should they be able to keep the squad together, we might be saying the same thing next season.
All right, I have one more question for OB.KNOWS. Can we go to the website? Don't forget to SMS Super TV to 30978, because this one, it needs us to take a look at the website and get an idea of how long it's taken for Lille to get to this level. So OB.KNOWS, can we travel there real quick? Let's go to French football. He's smiling. He knows that it's going to be a very interesting question. Like, you're trying to catch me off guard. I'm not. Maybe a little bit. Let's go, OB.KNOWS, to the archives. Yes, look, he already knows. So my question here is, let's go to PSG, OB.KNOWS, because don't forget the season last season. So don't forget that last season ended early, making PSG the champions of the league. And they're already running away with it. So as you can see, at this point, they're running away with it. But look at where Lille was sitting. Lille was sitting all the way in 4th, OB.KNOWS, in match day 28. And looking at how they were playing at the time, they were starting to dominate. They had only one loss in their last 6. So my question to you is, OB.KNOWS, are we seeing a rise in quality from Lille, or are we seeing a decrease in quality from Paris Saint-Germain?
Well, I think... Wow, that's a big question.
It's a big question.
Huge one. I think you could say it's pretty much both. It goes both ways. And I say this because PSG, we can't disagree and say they haven't dropped, in terms of quality. Yes, they have Kylian Mbappe, they have Neymar in there, but during this season, most of the time this season, they didn't have Verratti available. Verratti was injured most of the times. He's coming in, he's plugged in by Idrissa Gana Gueye. And Idrissa Gana Gueye, all due respect to him, I mean, he's a brilliant player, quality player in that midfield. But he's a player in the Premier League who was playing for a team like Everton. So I would say that all due respect to his qualities, you know what I'm saying. But I would say that it is a bit of a decrease from them, not too much, but it's a whole lot of an increase from Lille. I mean, all these young players. I mean, we're even talking about Renato Sanchez a couple of years ago, because he was a flop in England. He was a flop at Bayern Munich.
Font as well.
And Font, he was playing for Southampton. So I do think that the team that has been built has, managed to, I wouldn't say they're even equal in terms of quality with PSG. I think PSG still stand head and shoulders above everyone in the French league. But I do think that Lille did manage to close the gap a little bit, and it's just fortunate that they were able to do it this season, the season where PSG themselves weren't too great.
But we're talking about a team that went on back-to-back treble wins. OB.KNOWS, back-to-back treble wins, meaning that they won every domestic title available. They won everything, OB.KNOWS, for 2 seasons in a row. And then come the end of this season, they only have 2 titles to show for it.
Yeah, well, look, like I'm saying, I don't think it's a huge dip in quality in the team, but I do think that Lille did push themselves, head and shoulders. I mean, they did push themselves quite a lot to be able to reach where PSG is. I mean, it's been so many years since anyone was able to lift, this league trophy. So it had to take something special, and something special indeed it was. I mean, a 35-year-old coming from Turkey to come and help Lille, to win this trophy.
Came for free.
Came for free. I have to say, I have to give credit to Lille as well for trusting such a buy,
Wow.
I mean, they had to find a way to make sure that they kind of, reach PSG, and I think they've done it so well.
OB.KNOWS is pulling a little Martin Tyler there, writing that script like it's a beautiful story that should be taken to Hollywood and just commissioned to be one hell of a movie. Let's move on and go see what's happening in Italian football. Well, it's a very interesting time in world football, because we thought that Juventus would not be in the Champions League. Well, everybody was thinking it. Don't look at me like I was the only one thinking it. We were actually hoping it would just finish at 5th. Europa League, Juventus, Ronaldo next season. Want to see it? Will Ronaldo finally get a Europa League title? That was the big question. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. So Juventus, OB.KNOWS, went on to get that Champions League spot. But it was at the cost of Gennaro Gattuso's Napoli.
Ah, man, look, Napoli... I thought Napoli had it. I mean, before this match day, if I'm not mistaken, they were sitting in second place. I mean, in third place behind Atalanta. And looking at the qualities that they brought in, I mean, I did say that Victor Osimhen, quality striker, coming from Lille as well. He was the one that Lille had to replace with Burak Yilmaz. But I do think that they built a quality squad in there. And Gattuso, he failed. At AC Milan. And not that he failed drastically, he also finished in 5th place, which meant he was missing out on Champions League football. And, the guy he knew what his mandate was at AC Milan, that, he had to get the team back into Champions League, and he didn't, and he decided to leave. And Napoli, picked him up, and that was the time when Sarri actually went to Chelsea. So, Gennaro Gattuso had to step in the next season there at Napoli. And I'm pretty sure they expected, him to finish in the Champions League position. I mean, 2 seasons finishing in a Europa League spot is not good enough for Napoli. And once again, he had to leave. And it's unfortunate for Gennaro Gattuso, but it's great to see that, him finishing in respectable places. I mean, yes, the teams don't want to finish in 5th place, but it's still a respectable position for a coach who just started his managerial career.
Do you think that maybe we should get that song sent to him, maybe like via WhatsApp, so before games you can listen to Gennaro? Did you think we should do that?
Yeah, but
put him on.
It says David. You see, that's the problem.
Actually, the problem is David. but he could be getting himself hype in the changing room. Listen, everybody, Gennaro. You know what I'm saying? But let's go to the website. Let's go see quickly where he finished specifically, and we can understand the context of what OB knows is talking about before we come back and we continue the conversation about the other managers that are in line to possibly replace him. Let's go see. So as you can see there on the website, we're not worried about who's in first. We're more worried about that 3rd, 4th, and 5th position. So as you can see, Atalanta then losing out to AC Milan, and that meant that they stayed at 78 points. Juventus picking up that 2 crucial 3 points, and they went up to 4th position on 78 points as well, level on points with Atalanta. This is how fine a margin it was. Milan are sitting on 79, both Atalanta and Juventus on 78, and then you have your Napoli sitting on 77. So it's not a big drop. I mean, when I look at that, I would give him one more season, because I'm looking at the fact that he was just 1 point off the pace from the top 4. And not just any top 4. I mean, a top 4 that has an Atalanta that scored 100 goals last season, Juventus that has Ronaldo in it. You're talking about an AC Milan that has really come to the fold this season. You're talking about an Inter Milan that boasts some of the biggest names to cut them out of English football. It's not a bad achievement.
Let's not also forget he had to let go of Allen to Everton.
You know what I'm saying? He sold Allen to Everton, but OB knows, don't forget that he did all of this season while having to deal with a condition that involved his eye. You understand? So he's been through a lot this season. I mean, he was sick for half the season. His eye had a problem. He had to go through surgeries and all these things. But we overlook those things. When it comes to football, it looks like results are at the end all. And I think because of the man he is, not because of the club he was coaching. I think the man he is, he can't take that failure to his chest, because his whole career was 100%, 180 football, like all the time. If he goes into a tackle, he goes into it 190%. So I think maybe that's because of the man he is.
I also think so. I think when you give him a mandate, like that's why I'm using the example of his time at AC Milan. Just to show that he's a person who wants winning and he treasures being a champion. He wants to be a champion. He's not gonna settle for 5th place or 2nd place. So I do think that it's just unfortunate that it's not working out for him in Italy right now. But I don't think he should be giving up hope. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could be looking for a coach. Especially in Italy. So I think if he can, just throw his net out once again and look for another task. Maybe get a club that is not really looking for too much success at the moment. We're speaking about the likes of Sassuolo in there. So maybe those type of teams.
Maybe he needs to leave Italy.
No, and go where?
Anywhere else, Obi knows. Maybe he needs a different country, a different brand of football to come try it out. But the question is, Obi knows, who will be the man replacing him? Who are the names in the hat?
Well, in the hat, we've got Allegri. Allegri's still looking for a job, and Arsenal don't look like they're going to bring in Allegri. I mean, they look like they're certain with Arteta in there. But this guy here, he could be coming back. I mean, let's not forget that he left in great terms at the club. I mean, it's not like it was a situation where, he didn't want to be there anymore. It was him, going to a bigger task at Chelsea. And look at the games, 148 games, 98 wins, 25 draws, 25 losses, 318 goals scored to 143 conceded. And points per game, 2.16. I think that's good enough to put Napoli back to where they want to be in terms of Champions League positions. And I think, the football that he played at the club as well kind of matched exactly what Sarri ball was all about, So I do think that he's possibly, the candidate they're going to go with, especially with the fact that, Roma are posting up their ranks, bringing Jose Mourinho, making their intentions clear that they also want to compete again in Champions League football. So I do think that Sarri still has an open door there. I don't think that his stint at Juventus ruins anything for him. I mean, he still won the Scudetto despite all that he went through at the club. So I do think he's still the best option to go there.
All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll continue the conversation around English football. But before I let you go, OB.KNOWS just wanted to remind you that yesterday, Ronaldo was not in action for Juventus, which kind of adds to the flame, to the fire that is basically saying that Ronaldo's on his way out. But when we come back, I will make reference to Ronaldo's old boss, Mr. Sir Alex Ferguson. You don't want to miss this.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Ufuna ukuba yiblesser? Now ungapopa with Super Bets. Simply SMS Super TV to 30978 and start playing.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Welcome back to Mo Sports. You're tuning to channel 150 on your Open View decoder. It's Super TV powered by Super Bet, and we're bringing you all the things you need to know about what's happening in local and international football. It is a weird time right now because the leagues are wrapping up and we're looking at the champions from around the continents. Now let's move on and let me give you the Mo riddle before we go any further. The Mo riddle today is one that you can read for yourself. It's so difficult, I haven't actually read it. So if you have the answer, please do send it to me. The number is 071-621-4746. And while you're still on your phone, don't forget to SMS Super TV to 30978. Once you've done so, you'll get a link in return. You can start the registration process and join our wonderful family. So now let's continue the conversation. OB.KNOWS. I was very, we always have this chat about managers, right? Yeah. But we never have a chat about Sir Alex Ferguson. I feel like now that the leagues are wrapping up, we're going into the Euros, maybe in that period we might have a conversation about different managers. But funny enough, a conversation about Sir Alex Ferguson surfaced, and he was saying that he bumped into Jurgen Klopp on his travels in America. It's funny how English and European managers always bump into each other in America. So he's like, I bumped into Jurgen Klopp in America before he was a Liverpool coach, and I said to him, he asked me, he's like, so if I was to go to England, which club do you think I should go to? Now, we all know the story of Jurgen Klopp's wife saying that, no, go to Liverpool over Manchester United. So Sir Alex Ferguson said this to Jurgen Klopp. He said that, go to the best team. Pick the best team and then go there. A team that wants to win trophies, a team with potential, a team with high expectations. Go and coach there. Yeah. And guess what? The Manchester United offer came in. The Liverpool offer came in. Jurgen Klopp's wife was like, Liverpool. The words of Sir Alex Ferguson came back to haunt Manchester United. Not only that, and then he bumps into Pep Guardiola in New York. So he bumps into Pep Guardiola in New York. He's like, yo, Pep, please tell me where your next move is going to be. And obviously the next move was Manchester City. So for some odd reason, Sir Alex Ferguson, the last great manager of Manchester United so far in the recent history, has had both the dominant coaches of the Premier League come to him and ask him for advice. And his advice was not straightforward to Manchester United, but his advice was go to where it's always best. You know, go to where they want trophies, go to where there's demand. And guess what happened? Both those guys are the reason why Manchester United are not at the top of their game.
Well, I can't understand, you know. Sir Alex Ferguson, he's a person of integrity and truth. You know, I mean, we've heard all the stories about him in the dressing rooms. You know how he's spoken to his players. You know, he's a person who admires the truth, and I think he knows the Glazers very well. I mean, he knows exactly the state which he left the club in. I mean, the club went on to get all these different coaches. You know, Louis van Gaal, you know, David Moyes, all these other coaches. So I think at the back of his mind, he had the thought that, you know what, I can't be telling these people to go to a place where they might just be doomed to fail, you know, and I would take it like that, you know, if anything, because I don't really understand the full context of that whole conversation, but from hearing what you're saying, I think that's what, you know, Alex Ferguson was thinking.
So get this, and then he goes a step further and he says, so you remember the final they had against Barcelona where Messi and David Villa just dominated Manchester United. Now, everybody sees that final as the Messi final because Messi was all over the pitch that day. And guess what he thinks the remedy would have been for him to win that final? Park Ji-sung. I mean, they asked him who was the most underrated player you had. He named 3, but the most notable name was Park Ji-sung because he spoke about Park in excess. He was like, if I had, because he said he had the idea before halftime. He's like, I want to put on Park Ji-sung at halftime so he can keep Messi at bay. He's like, he didn't do so, and that's exactly what happened. He's like, if you like, you should watch. I'll give you guys the link on my social media so you can go watch it for yourself. But there's a conversation between him and between Neville and him, and Neville was just asking him a bunch of questions, and he did mention that if he had played Park Ji-sung in that final, he could have won it because Park Ji-sung would have man-marked the hell out of Messi. But let's move on. That's one tactic to keep Messi at bay. But let's talk about one of the teams we just talked about now. Manchester City are crowned the champions of England once again. Yeah. You know what? I was actually laughing. I was like, if there's a god of football, he's very ironic because he gives Liverpool's title under closed doors. And then he gives...
Then he gives Man City when, you know, everyone's back in the stadiums. I was hurt, actually. I wouldn't lie. Like, when I saw this title celebration, I was like, yo, it could have been so much. You know, it could have meant so much to Liverpool supporters. I mean, you know, this means more. You know, that's the Liverpool slogan for the fans. And I think... man, it would have been such a beautiful moment to just see Liverpool lifting the title and seeing the fans, you know, jubilant at that present moment. But, you know, take nothing away from Manchester City. They fully deserved it. What a great season they've had. Dominance, you know, from the beginning. Well, not from the beginning. I mean, from the beginning, we thought they were going to struggle. You know, a lot of people were calling for Pep's head even. But, you know, I think they've overturned it very well. Managed to find the right tactic to move them forward. A lot of teams took some time to figure them out, and I think that was the secret to this whole success. You know, trying to figure Manchester City out, and a lot of teams failed to do it. And I do think that you know, it would just be the cherry on top of the cake if they managed to win the UCL.
So what about Aguero? Because I saw Aguero got a gift from Martin Tyler. So Martin Tyler actually gave him the notes from that goal. Aguero! He gave him the notes he was writing in that match. So he got those notes, you know. So is that his time in English football over?
Definitely. I think he's agreed terms with Barcelona. He will be heading to Barcelona, and you know, the question arises again: will he be able to help you know, Messi think about, you know, coming back, you know, staying at Barcelona rather? You know, I do think that with the friendship they do have, he might just be able to sway Messi's decision to stay at Barcelona. You know, hopefully we'd be able to see them linking up together at Barcelona. But it does seem like he will be actually heading to Barcelona come next season.
I don't know how I feel about that. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about it because I know that they played international football together and they're both great players, but I don't see them at club level creating that kind of history. I mean, you're trying to replace a Luis Suarez that went to Atletico Madrid, who've been trying to take the league off the hands of Real Madrid and Barcelona for so long.
Who best to replace Luis Suarez?
Oh, but no, at this point, that is an undefined question.
I mean, Aguero has like 2-3 good seasons left in him. Well, let's say two good seasons left in him. I mean, I don't think he goes beyond those 2 seasons. But in these next 2 seasons, I do think that should Messi stay, we could be looking at, you know, a renaissance in Barcelona. We might just see them coming back into that contention of going to the league. I mean, 2 seasons now, no league title for them, and it's how many without a Champions League? About 6. So, so I do think that it's a chance for them to at least for these next 2 seasons to also rebuild around these 2 players, and, you know, maybe get a chance to get some glory back into Barcelona. And I do think that Aguero has the ability to score quite a lot of goals.
I just want to say this before we look at Aguero's goals. I mean, Sir Alex Ferguson once said that titles win you defenses and goals win you matches. So let's go see how many.
Win you defenses.
Yes, titles win you. Defenses win you titles. OB.KNOWS had to be right. So as you can see, this is how we did at Manchester City. So basically, in the EPL, he had 275 appearances with 184 goals and 55 assists. Oh, that's beautiful. And moving on to his FA Cup journeys, he's gotten 20 goals out of 22 appearances with 5 assists. That's already 25 contributions out of 22 games. That's a crazy number. In the EFL Cup, he's been able to do 22 appearances, 11 goals and 3 assists. Wow. Well, he spent quite a while at Manchester City, and he's been quite the player for Manchester City. I think he's a bona fide legend at this point in time. But OB.KNOWS, thank you for correcting me. His defenses win you titles. His defenses win you titles, and goals win you matches. So it's fine, OB.KNOWS. We're right about that. But let's move on, OB.KNOWS. Let's talk about the top goal scorers this season. Who was the front runners in the EPL this season?
Well, at the top it was of course Harry Kane. Harry Kane was the one at the top. He was leading 23 goals. I mean, he's got the top goal scorer and the assists. So he's got the most assists in the league and the most goals. I mean, when have you ever heard of that, you know? But what I want us to talk about rather is still around Aguero, because we're talking about the all-time top goal scorers, because he's in there. He's in the top 3, if I'm not mistaken, top 4, sorry. So yeah, it's one of those things, you know, where you look at Aguero's career at England, and only now that he's leaving, we're talking about all these other things that, you know, he's managed to achieve. I mean, yes, he was playing for Manchester City, a team which brought its success, but how great has he been? I mean, he was there with the first title they won, and, you know, leaving with the 5th one as well. So I think he's been a very, very instrumental player in the EPL, and definitely my vote for him to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Well, OB.KNOWS and Sir Alex Ferguson there's a lot of collaboration there. I see they share a lot of, you know, the same mindset, because Aguero has been quite the player, I mean, through his time. But Harry Kane, ironically, is one of the players that when they were asking Sir Alex Ferguson, they're like, which players from this generation would you have signed? He's talking about Harry Kane, he's talking about Son, he's talking about Dele Alli, he's talking about Tottenham players. So the question is, with all that talent that Tottenham has, why have they not been able to win a title? Well, we're not here to talk about that. OB.KNOWS, let's go to the website and see how the season actually wrapped up and how everybody got into the top 4. Because everybody's excited that Liverpool is playing Champions League football next season. Liverpool is that kid who doesn't do his homework. And in register period, in the first period of the day, he's going to fetch Uncle homework fast. And he's doing the copies. And when you guys get to class, they're like, wow, what beautiful homework he did. He did it this morning. Let's go see basically how Liverpool did it this morning. So as you can see, Liverpool, I mean, it doesn't even look like a bad finish from Liverpool. Man City 86 points, Manchester United 74, Liverpool on 69 points. I mean,
5 points
that's
away.
5 points behind Manchester United. You'd think that these guys had a great season, but they had a dismal season. I mean, they did win their last 5, but they had a dismal season. That Anfield record will speak volumes of what happened here with Liverpool this season. Chelsea finishing in 4th, and they had a nice run to the end of the season, but the last 3 games look proving that sometimes things don't go according to plan when you need them to go according to plan. 2 losses and 1 win out of their last 3. Leicester City, pulling a Leicester City from last season once again. They were in the top 4, dominating once again, and towards the last 3 games of the season, they managed to slip out of that top 4, and they slipped out by just the 1 point, showing that Leicester City, I feel like at this point, they become a placeholder in the top 4. Then when they come to crucial times, they do slip out. The only hope for them now, if I'm not mistaken, is that the only hope for them now is that an English club wins the Champions League. Am I correct?
No, I'd say the rules have changed once again with this new league that's been put in. It's a conference league.
So do you know that when they came up with the idea for the conference league, they called it the Europa League Division 2.
Really?
And then they were like, nah, let's change this.
They should have just left it like that. I mean, like, they're only doing this for the teams that can't get into Champions League football, and that's the reason why they're doing this, you know. So I do think that
team that can't get into Europa League football. I mean, for me, it's like, okay, but what you guys are doing is basically you guys are creating a cup competition that now turns the European continental competition into a league itself. Because you'll have teams that will qualify for the 3rd tier, then you have teams that qualify for the 2nd tier, then you have teams that qualify for the 1st tier. Now the question is, what happens to the Super Cup? Are we going to see another playoff to go into the Super Cup? Or is it going to be a situation where the teams in the Conference League understand that, you know what, we are here just to play and dip? Now the question was, OB.KNOWS, it's the UEFA Conference League, but there's also a UEFA Champions League, and now the initials for UEFA Champions League is UCL. Now, what are the initials for Europa Conference League? It's the UECL.
No, it's gonna. No.
It's a fact, Obi knows.
It's a combination.
They can't UCL. I mean,
Yeah, I guess,
That's
I
the
guess,
UEFA
I guess,
Champions
I
League. They
guess.
can't. You see what I'm saying?
It's clear, man. It's a UECL. Yeah, I guess it is.
It's UCO.
Too cool.
So we know. Let's see how Liverpool did this season. If I'm not mistaken, we have to look at how they did this season.
Well, yeah, we can take a look at on the website and see how they performed at home. I mean, I think that six game where they played 6 home games and didn't win any and lost all 6 actually.
Yeah.
I think that was a part where I really felt like Liverpool had completely lost the plot. I mean, you also calling for Jurgen Klopp to be sacked, you know. I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening this season, Mo. But looking at the finish, I mean, it's just 5 points away from Man United, a team which we are saying that they had a great season. I mean, they had a great season.
My thing with Jurgen Klopp is that for some reason I always feel like Jurgen Klopp has the talent of orchestrating his downfalls. Like every time he's been in a very rough patch, it's because he did it to himself. I remember when Liverpool were in line to play the UEFA Champions League final against Real Madrid. They had a game before that game, they had a game against Chelsea. And what Jurgen Klopp did is he played Salah on the middle, he played Firmino on the left, he played Mane on the right? That game was dismal. The attack was not there, non-existent. And I felt like he was trying to hide from Real Madrid what his winning formula was by actually confusing the front three and making sure that whoever's watching, whoever's analyzing the video cannot see where the goals for Liverpool are coming from, which was a great idea. But I feel like this season also was a season where he wanted to try out new things. He wanted to try out new players. I feel like this whole Van Dijk injury actually helped Liverpool. Now they have a little bit of squad depth in their defensive positions. If you think about it, I mean, Nathaniel Phillips and he finished off the season quite well. Yeah. I mean, he's finished now looking like a player that can be a mainstay in the Liverpool starting 11 when Van Dijk is not present. Don't come and say Mo said when Van Dijk is not present. Let's go to the website. Let's go see how they did at Anfield this season. So we are there. And then when you arrive, it gives you the coordinates, it gives you the date on which the stadium was built. Now, funny enough, there was a complaint about Old Trafford. Today, I went to go do my homework about Man United. People are saying that they're at Old Trafford, while you're watching the game, there'll be rats running onto the pitch. They just go collect a piece of cheese. So there's a whole lot of complaints about the maintenance of Old Trafford, and it's a long story. But this is how it's looking for Liverpool this season at Anfield, Nobody knows. So what are we trying to do? Let's go down and go to winners and see what the winners were saying. So the home side won 10 games and then lost the whole 6 and drew 3. This is actually bad for a home side. I mean, we'll compare this to Manchester City just shortly. And as you can see, they scored 29 goals as their home side. They've not scored so much at home. Yeah. And yeah, they're not actually having amazing stats at home. And it's like a 50% domination at home. Let's scroll up, let's go see how they've been going. So as you can see, Mo Salah scored the most goals with 9. And then they went on to collect total cards 48, total goals 49. That's both home and away. Let's go up, And as you can see, out of their last few, Newcastle managed to hold them to a draw while Fulham managed to beat them at home. So that's basically what Obinos was trying to show you, that at Anfield, Liverpool have not been perfect this season. And it's been very dismal at some point. I mean, start of this year specifically, they did drown when it comes to results at Anfield. Let's put that away, Obinos. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the goal scorers, the clean sheet keepers of the season.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150. are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Welcome back to Mo Sports. Now you're tuning into channel 150 on your Open View decoder. Now we've been through the business. We've gone through Italy, France, England. We've even done Africa, and we've also done the domestic game, talking about the NFD. And now we're moving on all the way to talk about some of the biggest goal scorers and clean sheet keepers of the season. But before I go on, let's show you the Mo riddle and see if you know your football just as well as you think you do. So now the Mo riddle today reads as follows. Wanted to do that on TV my whole life. You can read it for yourself, and the number is 071-621-4746. Now that's the number where you can submit your answer to the Mo riddle. And once you say that number, you can interact with your favorite presenters, and you can send a comment when you see Super Beats and you see the DJ that you like, and you're like, I love that song. I'm kidding, don't send us your number. But there we go, you can always do so. So let's talk about what's happening in terms of the goal scorers in Europe this season. Now, OB knows we've seen a lot of goals this season. I mean, funny enough, Messi was sitting on 30, but he is not the highest goal scorer of the season.
Not.
It only goes to one man. It can only go to one man, and his name is Robert Lewandowski.
Yeah, 41 goals, history, complete history. Something that I don't think we're gonna see from him until I don't know when we're gonna see another.
Kingdom Cup.
Well, Haaland's got 40 goals this season in all competitions. So it's not a bad, thought to have to say that maybe in the next few years, if he does stay at Dortmund for another 2 seasons, he might just end up getting that 40 mark. I mean, of course, it's now a benchmark. Knowing Haaland, looking at who he is and what he does, this is a benchmark for him.
For me, Obi knows, I always say he can achieve this if he goes to Bayern. I know, I say this and Obi knows gets stunned every time, but guys, Haaland is the perfect striker for Bayern. I mean, looking at the history, Obi knows, Miroslav Klose, your Gomez.
Why do you want him to do that? Why?
Mandzukic, Obi knows.
You need to stop saying it.
I mean, think about it.
Like, you need to stop saying it because they say he speaks it into existence. And you
don't want to see him at Bayern.
I don't. Why do you want to see him at Bayern? Like, Bayern are taking the coaches. Bayern are taking all the players. Why? This guy must just leave. Look, the German Bundesliga is not the best league in the world. That's not where you're going to be the best. You need to go and travel and go to Spain.
But Lewandowski is the best right now.
Yeah, he's the best striker in the world, but not playing for the best team in the world either. Know what I'm saying? Well, come on. You see, you're making me say other things now, but Bayern are currently the best team in the world because they have that badge on their chest.
They're the world champions, but they're not the best.
He just needs, I think Haaland just needs to go to a league where football is a religion, man.
So do you think okay, fine.
The EPL should be way beyond.
Looking at Harry Kane, Obi knows, I feel like Harry Kane made the wrong decision at Tottenham, right?
For what? By staying?
No, not by staying, yes. All those times when he could have left at a younger age, when he was at his prime, when he was scoring all those. Remember that goal he scored with the outside of his left foot and he took off the mask and he ran? Remember that goal?
Yeah.
When I saw that goal, I was like, this guy is too good for this team, dude. This guy is he's on his own world, Obi knows. Like, that's how good. Harry Kane is brilliant, Obi knows. So, my fear for Haaland is that if he gets caught by the wrong team, I mean, Liverpool.
What could be the wrong team? I mean, firstly, these are teams with a lot of money. These are teams with a lot of money are teams that are winning trophies. So which one would be the wrong move?
A lot. Any team in England that is not Liverpool and Man City is the wrong team. And Chelsea. Chelsea's also okay. It's a good place to be, Chelsea. Manchester United right now, also interesting. You could go there. But the teams that don't have direction, I mean, the teams that have money but don't have the direction.
So you say Man United don't have a direction?
They have the money. They have the players. But do they have a direction?
Right now they do, man. Mo, come on. Look, we need to look at the progress where Oli was at the beginning, where Oli came in.
In the beginning.
You know, it was Oli's on the wheel, baby, we back. Where were you back? Now I think they can focus on, going for Manchester City because that's their target now. I mean, firstly, I know Man United supporter fans, they're happy that they finished above Liverpool, which is an accomplishment for
That's their whole goal.
It's an accomplishment.
That's how they gave Sir Alex Ferguson that job. They're like, who do you hate the most? He's like, Liverpool, but you see you. Hired.
So I do think that I think if they can add a striker, they can bolster that midfield where they don't need to depend on Fred and McTominay too much. I think we might be looking at a team that just might go for a title.
Or we have a minute. Let's see the goalkeepers quickly because, funny enough, there's one goalkeeper I'm very worried about. There is a Liverpool protege that actually went to Leipzig, and I was shocked because he's at the top of the list in Germany.
Peter Gulaschi. Yeah, I mean, he didn't. I think it gave him a chance to grow. Leaving Liverpool gave him a chance to grow. I think if he had stayed at Liverpool, we would not be having, this goalkeeper. We'd have someone who's lost confidence a long time ago. I mean, we even brought in Mignolet, my guy, at some point. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that had he stayed at Liverpool, we might have been looking at a goalkeeper who has lost all the confidence in the world. So getting game time as a goalkeeper is very important. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which team you play for. Getting game time is very important. So I do think that he's grown over the years and he deserves to be there.
OB.KNOWS, who's the top clean sheet keeper?
Mike Maignan. I told you about Mike Maignan.
Yeah.
Lille goalkeeper, 21 clean sheets. The next
Title winner.
The title winner, you know what I'm saying? I think he's the next.
So the lesson that we learned today is that goals don't win you titles. They win you matches, because look at the man who has the most clean sheets, won a title for Lille over PSG. Now let's give you the answer to Mo riddle so we can call it a day. I know I cut OB.KNOWS short, but it's goalkeepers who can continue this conversation. Let's see, OB.KNOWS, who is the answer for the Mo riddle?
For the riddle.
There it is.
It's
Emil Heskey.
Emil Heskey. I mean, if you wanted to make this very short, we would have said what you said earlier on.
Dogs are named after him.
Oh,
he has a breed that's named after him.
Is it named after him or he's named after a breed?
His surname is the breeds.
What came first, dogs or Heskey?
Emil. Emil came first. Thank you for joining us here on Mo Sports. We'd like to see you again on Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. here on channel 150 on your open field coder Super TV, powered by Superbet.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Got something to say? Chat to us live on air via our WhatsApp line. WhatsApp us on 071 621 4746.